watching, from wherever you are watching. Maybe you are not in Johannesburg, South Africa, and maybe your time zone is a little different. So let me just say hello to everybody who is watching. My name is Lee. And this is the Whensday Warm-Up. And the Whensday Warm-Up is one of the podcasts proudly brought to you by the Insights Show. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who joined this morning. It feels like such a long time, honestly, since the last time I was here. The month of July, we dealt with relationships, marriages, children, step-parenting. It was fun. It was lekker for somebody who is not yet married and who does not yet have children. It was interesting to hear different perspectives on marriage and something that I will be getting to later in my life. So it was nice to have that. To everybody who also gave us your feedback, thank you so much. It was fun. It was fun indeed. Many people were saying that they really enjoyed the segment and they gained new insights. And that was ultimately what we wanted to achieve with this last 3 shows. So this show today was supposed to be on dating. And in case you haven't noticed already, like in the title and stuff, it's not about dating, unfortunately. And I also feel like we've done this before, so I didn't want to do the dating segment. Instead, we are going to be speaking about the gender pay gap, my people, and specifically the case study between Banyana versus Bafana. And this is a highly contending issue, right? And the gender pay gap is also obviously not a new phenomenon. It's not a topic that has just recently come about. In fact, it is quite... It's come a long way, especially since the dawn of a new horizon, not just democratically for South Africans as a whole, but for women who have stepped up and who are dominating, or at least who are now, who have a greater representation in the workplace. And so obviously we want to know about gender equality, and does it matter? So thank you so much for everybody who joined us. If you have not done so already, please do subscribe to this channel. There's a subscribe button somewhere there on your screen, either on your cell phone or on your laptop or on your computer. For those of you who are watching, I think some people watch like via their PlayStation, so on the TV. I don't know, how do you click like? Maybe go onto your phone and do that, right? But please do click that subscribe button and then hit that notification bell. The reason why I say so is so that you can be informed, my masakaness, so that you know this is the Insights is on again. We have 7 different shows. 2 of them have been on a break, for those of you who have not yet noticed, and for those of you who watch the show religiously every single day. So we've got Monday with the Morning Shake. Xavier Hendricks is on the Morning Shake with Jay Paris, and they discuss an array of things, also cultural, socio-economic issues, those kinds of things. Then Tuesdays, the morning, we would have had the Insight series with Dr. Carl Hendricks, who is the founder of this channel, but he has been taking a break for a while. He's busy with other things, so unfortunately we don't have that show. And then after that, at 10:30 a.m. every second Tuesday is the Full Circle with Tessa Dooms. That's our latest show that we have added, and that's a political show in partnership with the Rivonia Circle, so we are super excited about that. Then obviously, people, for those of you who don't know, okay, it's Wednesday and it's the Wednesday. Now please don't get the spelling wrong. I know that I'm just taking a little bit of time with this one, but also you know how it is. I'm waiting for my co-host because he is always late. And then we've got the Whensday Warm-Up, spelled as in when, like when. It's not Wednesday. Thursdays is Talk with Joan Thursdays with the 3 beautiful ladies, Joan, Violet, and Leanne. And then Fridays we would have in the morning In Your Fields with the Unk, but the Unk has also been on a break. And then after that is Gabfest. But anyway, y'all, you know what? Let's jump straight into the topic. For those of you who don't know, our national women's soccer team or football team, Banyana Banyana, has recently come back victorious, having won Wafcon. So Wafcon is the Women African I'm gonna get to that now. I had it in my head all the time, and then it slipped my mind. But let me rather read you the article that is on Sports News 24, the sports section. And so, just waiting for it to load. Yes. So the article title is Victoria's Banyana receive 5.8 million rand bonus, but cries for equal pay grow louder. So I also saw an article that both Bonang, who is also one of the most prolific South African hosts and personalities, and Tuli, Pearl Tusi, I was going to say Tuli, I don't say like, ooh, I mustn't get into trouble with this. Pearl Tusi, they both said that Banyana Banyana deserves this bonus, right? And they were part of the vast majority of people on social media platforms who also cry for equal pay. So let us see the context in which this was the reason why this has come to the fore. Banyana Banyana may have got a cash boost from the sports ministry, but calls have grown louder for equal pay for the main national teams. Okay, so the main national teams, let me just bring you into the picture here. So Bafana Bafana with an F, they are the men's division national team in football, Bafana Bafana. And then Banyana Banyana is the women's national team, football national team. So they're calling for equal pay. And you will understand now why, for this reason, we are calling for this. For those of you who are not football fans, I was going to say fans, you're going to know now. Okay. On top of the 9.2 million rand Banyana got for winning the Women's African Cup of Nations. There we go, Wafcon. The Women African Cup of Nations. I was thinking, what does the CON stand for? I was going to say Confederation Conference. But there we go, Cup of Nations. They received an extra 5.8 million rand. Okay, South African Football Association President, so SAFA's SAFA's President Danny Jordan bemoaned that women's soccer isn't fully recognized from a broadcast rights perspective. So here we go. This is the article. In the midst of the sea of green and gold. So lovely. Oh, let me just see who is the author of this. What? Wonderful. It's Kanyeso Chwaku. Okay. Wonderfully written, that opening line. In the midst of the sea of green and gold, enveloped Banyana Banyana at the O.R. Tambo International Airport on Tuesday. South Africa's Women's Africa Cup of Nations winners also received a significant financial boost. This was in the form of 5.8 million rand, a 5.8 million rand injection from Sports, Arts and Culture, Nadim Mtetwa, as the Continental Conquerors were welcomed with open arms by a jubilant crowd in Kempton Park. South Africa, coached by Desiree Ellis and captained on the field by Refilwe Jane, beat Morocco 2-1 in Rabat on Saturday to claim their first ever Wafcon title after 5 failed finals. So, next to the bonus, cries for equal pay have also got louder as the pay disparity between men's and women's football remains a divisive topic. Sports, Arts and Culture Minister Nadim Mtetwa said at the arrival gathering that moves are afoot. Nice wording there. Moves are afoot. To sort out the pay disparity between men's and women's football. It's going to be a law in this country that Banyana Banyana and Bafana Bafana will be paid equally, Mtetwa said. We are making that decision as the government. It's not only Banyana Banyana, but all the women's teams to be paid equally. We are supporting them as government. Okay, remember that. He says, all women's teams, right, to be paid equally, we are supporting them as government. Okay? So in case they retract their statements, remember this article, remember this show. Right, next. We've said to SAFA that when we give SAFA money, they need to put a sum aside for women in general. The cash injection from the sports ministry will add on to the 9.2 million rand the players were already promised by SAFA, President Danny Jordan, before they departed on their successful Moroccan conquest. So this means that the sports department cash means that the total pot Banyana Banyana will split is 15 million rand, which means that each player stands to take home around 577,000 rand each. Now, here we get to the part. While it's not within the stratospheric limits of what men's teams earn for participating and making the early playoff rounds, it's still a significant payday for the players, especially with the Hollywood Bets Super League. While highly beneficial from a player development perspective, is still not fully professional. Jordan said more must be done to ensure that sports looks after the well-being of women's teams. How is it possible that when broadcast rights are paid for, the women's teams is not accounted for? Jordan said in the impromptu address in the players' tent. So let's stop there and first get into some really important things, right? So, Banyana Banyana is now champs, right? Wafcon champs. After 5 failed finals in the past, okay? Then all of a sudden, the South Africa's excited. Woo! Finally, there's a win, especially when it comes to football. Because in the last 2 decades, at least, we haven't seen international, even continental wins for football teams, right? From Bafana Bafana side, at least. So now they're saying, okay, here we at this point, they deserve it. So they're going to get an increase of 9.2 and then 5.8, and this is from SAFA and this is from the Ministry of Sports, Arts and Culture. And now again the story arises where we're like, okay, now Jordan is speaking about broadcast rights, right? Broadcasting rights, and that is something that still needs to be dealt with, because according to my understanding, even when it comes to sponsorships, the Banyana Banyana team has one sponsor, right? Which obviously from a team developmental perspective is basically nothing, right? And my producer was telling me earlier that most of the players in the Banyana Banyana team actually plays internationally. They don't even play locally because, what is there for them? But now Nadim Tetwa, who is the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, goes on further and he says that, I think that it would also make sense that the rest of the women's teams get equal pay. And this raises some eyebrows for me specifically when we are speaking about the gender pay gap. So this is only in sports, right? And it's definitely a move in the right direction from SAFA and the Ministry of Sports, Arts and Culture, because I believe, like I've said in the past, that you need to be compensated based on your competence and based on your skills and the kind of work that you put in, right? It's on merit. That is what I believe. And that opens another can of worms altogether, because when we go racially and we speak about merit, that is that issue. Let's not even get into that, because we've got a history of discrimination based on your skin color and also based on your gender, right? Gender. So we've got people in the comment section that I first want to get into, and then we will continue with this discussion. So Keegan says that the best striker in Africa is Portia Modise. Not even Samuel Eto'o came close to her record amount of national goals. Wow. Now look at that. When we are speaking about competency and we are speaking about merit here, why is it that she must get paid less than Samuel Eto'o? Am I right? Eto'o. They're my producer because I heard him laughing. So I was like, I must have said it wrong. But Eto'o, thank you so much. Eto'o. Then Juan Horn, good morning. Good morning to you. Keegan continues to say that she is the best soccer player in Africa by national team goals. So does that mean best soccer player, if you say best soccer player in South Africa, it's like the whole of South Africa entirely. So she can play. So wait, producer, are you saying, Keegan, are you saying that she can play in the men's football team and be the best? Okay, my producer is going. So Keegan, this question is thrown to you. It's in your court. Okay. Are you saying that if she were to play with the men, she would be the best soccer player in South Africa, irrespective of her gender? That is the question that I want to ask, because it raises another issue here altogether, right? Then there was another article that I found that basically said the same thing. Danny Jordan commits to address Bafana and Banyana players' pay inequality. So that is dealing with the football, right? We're talking about soccer here, and we're talking about the pay gap there. And we are seeing clearly, if based on what you are saying and based on the stats, because, stats speaks in life, right? So Keegan says Africa, as in Africa, right? Sheldon Banks, no, Jesse is not in yet. But that we will discuss at another time. Today we are talking about the gender pay gap. And now you see why we are fighting for more pay with women, because we are on time and we're doing the things that need to be done to the systems, and the men, they come in late and stuff like that. So, you can see now when we, come on now, guys, come on now. You see, this is why I am here. And this is actually a really bad reflection on the men. Wouldn't you say? It's a bad reflection on the men, because now all these facts are coming together and they are making sense to make sure why the woman must get paid more, or at least equal. I mean, that's just my opinion. Yeah, he walks in now. Unprofessional. This is what I'm talking about, men. That is why women need to get paid more. So Keegan says she is the best in Africa. So best in Africa as in the best football player in Africa. So like even with other African player men, because is Muhammad Ali is Mo Salah not from Africa? I mean, there's a couple of is Mane not from Africa? Yeah, there's a couple of soccer players. Is what's that one that plays for Manchester United? What's his name?
Which one?
Pogba. Is he also
Pogba's
not from
French.
Africa? Is he not from Africa?
France. Probably originally.
Oh,
but
okay.
the whole France team's African, basically.
Okay, so even that other Oki, the young one, Mbappe.
Konate, no.
Yeah.
As you see now, I need to get into the zone first.
Okay,
throw me in there.
No, Jesse, why are you late? Okay, explain, because this is what people want to know here in the comment section. They're asking, why are you late?
Julle like goed, man.
No, we must answer the people. Give the people what they want to know. Sheldon Banks is very concerned. He's very concerned.
Hey, you know what? In life, these things happen, man.
Yeah. Now you see, you are making it. You are
I do. Yeah.
You are supporting the narrative that women need to get paid equal or more, because look, I'm on time, I'm here. But anyway, we were talking about football, Jesse, and this is what Keegan says. The best striker in Africa is Portia Modise, not even Samuel Eto'o. Apparently it's Eto'o, not Itu, because I said Itu, but it's Eto'o. Yeah. Came close to her record amount of national goals. She is the best soccer player in Africa by national team goals.
Yeah.
Africa, he's saying. Now I'm asking, is she better than Mo Salah, Mane in terms of, because he says by team goals. Is he correct? I don't know. I must just yeah, ne? So he's saying Moleme says yes, she can play with the boys and show them flames. So this woman is on another level altogether. Ne? And then Keegan says she started by playing soccer against boys. She would beat them. That is how she became recognized.
I understand.
And then he says,
to know
goals talk more. She has the stats.
Yeah, I know. But I feel like we're pushing it about it. We're putting it against Mo and all of them.
He says in Africa. So now I'm asking, because he says she's the best in Africa.
She's very good, yeah. But Mo Salah is scoring both goals in the
The
most
world.
difficult league in the world, which is
Okay.
the English Premier League.
Okay.
It's the most difficult league in the world to play in. And he performs in that league. He goes all out. Top goal scoring records there. Okay, not necessarily record, but for Liverpool, yeah. He's looking to break some records there. Already broke a few. But yeah, as Mo Salah, it's a difficult one. As a guy, I feel like she'll struggle there with those chains, man.
Okay.
I understand, yeah, she played with the guys and stuff, but that's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
That,
Excuse the pun.
Yeah, excuse the pan. And then if that's just the English Premier League, I feel like she'll even struggle in Championship, which is under the English Premier League. You must know I played League One football in England. And that's just under Championship. And even that is extremely competitive. That's really, really difficult because you must know all these guys are fighting to try and get to the English Premier League. So the type of football, what you see in the English Premier League, you only are supposed to have 3 seconds on the ball, but there's times when you do have more. Whereas you look at Championship and League One, even League Two you can put in there. The time on your ball is so little and it's much more physical. Those gents play body football.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very, very physical.
Yeah.
In the English Premier League, it's still physical, but I won't say it's as physical as Championship and League One. Those are extremely physical.
Yeah. So, but let's bring it into divisions, right? And we're speaking about women's division right
Yes.
now. And so we started off by saying that Banyana Banyana is victorious. They won Wafcon. And
Congrats,
so
girls.
Congratulations.
Love it.
Yes. And so I was saying that it's a breath of fresh air for football in South Africa because when last they've...
Yeah, no, definitely.
I read that
But the girls
Bafana
themselves
was
have been
2
doing extremely
decades
well.
ago that Bafana did something exciting for the country.
Look, I think I said this, I think that was maybe 3 years ago. When it was before COVID even, I said they should actually scrap Bafana and give that money to Banyana. Because at that time, Banyana was actually performing much better than what the guys were.
Yeah.
They were actually going to the Olympics and they were going to Afcons and they were going to World Cups. Now they also World Cup. They're gonna be in the World Cup now next year. So yeah, they're actually doing things that when the only way we get in the World Cup is when we host the World Cup.
That's true.
The ladies is doing extremely
I mean,
well,
even
and I
on
feel
the
like you have to
continent,
give them their
even on the continent, Bafana, where are we? Where are we on the continent? Like, you see, we can't even. And I feel at this point in time,
it's difficult to even say in Africa, like stats wise, where we are. Okay, stats wise, obviously you can stats talk.
Yeah.
If you look at like Egypt, Ghana, those are very good.
oh, we've got Jay Paris here. He's so much
We
just
crazy out here, bro.
yo. Jay Paris with the shades all
Don't
up
play,
in here.
don't
What's
play.
happening? What's happening? Good morning.
Look at this
Good
one now.
morning,
Look
good
at
morning,
this
good
one now.
morning.
Look at this
Remind me
male
of
now.
someone
Look
who's
at this male now. He comes in what time? 25 past
morning, good
9.
morning, good
25
morning.
minutes into the show. He
One of
comes here with
one of
his
my favorite YouTubers saying my pet peeve is people that wear sunglasses
inside.
indoors.
Yo, now
Good
look
morning,
at that
good
now.
morning,
Hey,
good morning,
come
good
on now
morning.
with sunglasses and stuff like. Jay, we're talking about gender pay gaps. What is happening with the men? Why are you
know what's
also
going
in
on with-
Jesse's shot here?
What's going
happening?
on with this mic stand?
Your
You see now,
You see now,
incompetency.
he come
It's-
late and he still fiddle with
and
the
he's
mic.
still fiddle with the mic. You're making disruptions here, man.
As
Yes,
that's here
see,
early
you
now,
want to
you
take
come
the
throw us
spotlight
out.
here. You want to take the spotlight. We're talking about Banyana. What do you
Nah,
think
big
about
big
them?
shout out. I saw it was actually packed. I'm sure you spoke about it at the airport yesterday.
Yo, I
shout out.
wanted to go. I had
Shout
FOMO.
out. I thought I didn't expect
Did you
that.
see
turnout.
that
And I saw
Gautrain
the
gave
Gautrain was free.
But they were
tickets?
saying from
Anelo.
8:30 to 10
Yeah.
and Anele said, so what happens after that? They
That's
must
what
pay
I was
to get out.
thinking.
Right.
But that's the same thing I was thinking. I was like, clever marketing strategy. Kwai. Ek sien jy.
They're free.
He's
pay
like,
to
because
go.
we know that petrol is so expensive. So from 8:30 to 10, free tickets. But guys,
What
let
time
us
did they
at least,
arrive,
at
though?
least.
What time they get you though?
I think it was like at 9:30 round about there.
So yeah, you have that 30 minutes and then you go.
You just see them and then
you
you.
see and then like I.
But you know what they had was that whole thingy.
Celebration, basically.
thing, yeah. Where they
So now
had-
you just want to see them and go and you want to be there for the yalla, lekker, hala.
Nah, facts.
But anyway, what do you think, Jay? Talking about the gender pay gap, we were saying that, I don't know, did you see, but they got bonus, both from SAFA and from the
dope, the
Sports,
ladies.
Arts and Culture.
Yes.
Yes. So they got
At this moment in time, they deserve
over 15
everything.
mil. They got over 15 mil
The whole team as a
altogether.
Yeah.
nah, they should have upped that even more.
Now that's
I
what I'm
mean,
saying. But that means that each player gets 577,000 rand.
which they should have upped more.
Okay.
They should have upped more. I mean, I don't know when last, as the gents, Bafana Bafana, got to the stage where we could proudly celebrate them and say, you know what, good achievement.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, the last time that, like Jess was saying, the last time that there was a spotlight on our team was probably 2010. But that is
I was
just
right
for-
in my estimation when I said over 2 decades ago we saw some sort of, and
that-
even that was sad.
And we got knocked out in the group stages, so
the producer. When was it that they won last?
we won in 97. Is it 97?
When Mandela was alive, when he was in the stadium.
Yeah.
That is
We won in I think it's 97 when we won the Wafcon.
hectic. Wow. So 97.
97.
So that's over 2 decades. That's almost like, it's almost as old as what we are.
Nah, facts, and that's why I'm saying everything that Banyana Banyana has coming to them, they fully how can I say deserve
Yeah.
and more. And
But
more.
now listen, yeah, this the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Nadim Detwe, he was saying that that he says that the government supports the fact that Banyana Banyana must have equal pay to Bafana Bafana, right? Equal pay. And he says that they support that for all women's
should be more though,
teams.
but okay.
All
what
women's
it's worth.
teams in South Africa should have equal pay to their counterparts, their men's teams. So let's use some examples, right? If that's
Yeah.
what he's saying. Look, Banyana Banyana, my stance is this: if they are achieving more based on merit and competence, and based on, championships and medals and going to the World Cup and making it and those kind
I
of
don't
things,
think
I
don't
think
think people
they
realize
deserve
how big this
more
is.
than Bafana Bafana, because I mean, just like we were discussing last night, that they've only got one sponsor, Banyana Banyana.
That's why Des even went out of a way, Coach Des even went out of a way at yesterday's conference thingy to thank Cecil that much. He
Yeah.
says Cecil and only Cecil.
Yeah, but it's quite sad to realize that. And then Danny Jordan was saying broadcast rights.
Yeah.
Because I mean, even with that, we don't know. I haven't been following Banyana Banyana, which I would because I enjoy watching soccer, right? But I haven't been following them because where do I find them? Where do I
Yes,
see them?
obviously, it's not
Which
being
games do you
televised like
see?
that.
And not only that, it's not being advertised like that. Whereas with the gents, when you're watching something like Aeropop, Banyana versus Morocco, Banyana versus Ghana or something.
Yeah,
Super
yeah.
T, ski, what. With the girls, I don't know.
You see
don't,
now.
You don't really see those ads much.
So the last time also, so that's Banyana. So my stance is, I think they should, at this point in time, for what they've already achieved, right? Even in the last 5 years, compared to Bafana Bafana, they should be paid more. They should get more broadcast rights. They should be, like you were saying, at this point in time, we can replace.
And a lot of our girls
Bafana,
is
right?
playing overseas now.
That's what Clates was
A
saying.
lot of them.
That's what he was saying.
Yeah, you have some in Praga, you have some at Atletico Madrid. In Spain, you have a lot, bruh.
Yeah.
There's a lot that's playing overseas.
Well, if we've got people like Portia that is doing the most out
Yeah.
here, right? She is the best in Africa, according to Keegan, then obviously, But your guys, quickly on this one, do you think they should be paid equal or should be paid more? Banyana versus Bafana.
Nah, definitely more. Definitely more, because like we said, the last time the Bafana gents did anything was blue moons ago. So it's like legit. Give them the bag.
And
give
you,
them
Jess?
the bag.
For me, I'll say at this point in time, they should be getting more than what the gents are getting. They're achieving more.
Matter of fact, not even getting more money, playing for the gent squad.
So
In the team.
So they must take out
Take out the gents.
They should
Take
be
us to the
playing.
World Cup.
You say, they can take us to World
No,
Cup.
they can.
At this point in time, definitely. At this
They must
rate.
have a game where
At
they
this
verse each
rate.
other and then we see.
Aye, they'll slap the gents, bro.
So Keegan was saying, based on that, because I said the best. Keegan says she's the best player in Africa. In Africa. So I was saying
That's
like,
big.
but I was saying better than Mo Salah, because if you're saying Africa and soccer player, right? That's what I'm
let's
asking.
not go there now. Aisha, as a
He's
bliss.
saying, let's compare
National teams.
Yeah, as a
I
bliss.
So
understand
now he's
that.
answering
Belief.
that.
I understand. that.
Although
But
the
for
best
me,
player in Africa now is Sadio Mane. He got the
Yeah.
Yeah.
the award now. The other.
Yeah. So okay, so let's go now. That we're talking about Banyana, right? But now I want to ask the question: based on what would you say that they? Oh, if we are comparing, right? Let's say let's not even go Banyana. Let's just say across, because if Natim Detwa is saying all women's teams in South Africa should be paid equal. Based on what? Because yeah, we can say Banyana based on the fact that they've proven themselves, based on merit, based on
Yeah.
the fact of the quality of players in the team, right? And the kinds of things that they've achieved so far. Based on that, they deserve equal or more than even some of the players in the men's team. But what about the other teams? Because let's take
Yeah.
cricket, for example. Right? Let's see what the women's cricket team is doing versus what the men's cricket national team is doing. And we look at that. And they must get
Yeah.
equal pay. So that's the reason why I'm saying, based off of what can you say you
'cause the
deserve
women's
equal
cricket
pay?
team is not performing as well as what the men perform. I understand that.
Because with
That's-
Banyana, we can say merit, we can say
And the
competence,
thing,
we can say
obviously, the hype
achievements.
around
Yeah.
Banyana's up and about. I haven't really seen the other like women teams.
Nah.
Even
For
like with
me,
the, let's say, even
for-
the hockey team.
For me,
Men's hockey team.
I'll say firstly, we need to start at a place where the women's development is changed
Yes.
in terms of. You never hear when women even have trials and stuff like that. You don't hear any of those stuff. So I
It's
feel
almost like it's non-existent.
yeah. So I'll say firstly they need to work on that
Start
and try
from
and
the start.
Start from the start, and not just say let's give everyone the same amount of pay. Let's start from the start where we have our proper developments in place, because that's where we get to see the actual talent, and then from that talent we can work out that okay, this talent is worth this amount,
Yes.
this talent's worth that amount, and put numbers to it now, not just randomly. Okay, you were in case you can come play for us now. It's because that's literally
That's
how
how
it is
it
at
is,
this
yep.
point in time. Because we know case is
It's a
always
status thing.
feeder for cricket and
Yeah.
rugby. So it's like, okay, let's first start by the basics and get the development set up. And then after the development is set up, make sure that the women themselves also have proper equipment and gear and stuff like that.
Sponsorships.
Sponsorships and things like that. You can't just say that. Then we don't but the woman, you don't even know when a woman is playing in the league.
Yeah.
Yes, there is a women's league
Yeah,
here,
you
but we
don't.
don't even know when they're playing. It's not televised. I don't know now. I long last watched South African football. I'm going to be completely honest
Yeah.
with you. But I
Nah,
don't know.
facts,
I
bro.
never see anything of women on television. The only time you see something is when it's like England versus. That's when the woman is actually being televised.
Yeah, I know with World Cups, it becomes a thing. It
Even
becomes a
that,
big
the
thing.
women's Europa things that they have now. That.
He's not make sure.
Yeah, but I saw now the other day
It's
they
not-
was beat the world record for amount of attendance in.
But
in a
can you
stadium,
see that
the
goes
women.
back to that broadcast rights argument that Danny Jordan speaks about? Because I think that if it's not, because then the argument is, yeah, it's because men are biased and that is the reason why they only support men's things. But if men are saying that we don't know where to find the woman anyway, so we are watching sports because the main things that we see on the main channels is men.
Not only
playing.
that, Lee, you can't use that as a stunt, because at the end of the day, most of the people I know don't even watch the PSL
Yeah, I was just
itself.
about to say.
So you can't say they just support the men. We support good football.
Yeah.
We support something
Shots.
that's
Quality.
pleasing to the eye. Yeah. That's what we support. So obviously, if the development and the structures are dear makar and all these things, you're not gonna end up watching it because it's like, yeah, firstly, the appeal, the what you like when you flip and you go to the English league, you want to watch. As soon as you go to PSL, it looks dull, Soma. It looks like, yeah, you can see it's literally like
Day and night.
day and night. It's
Day
like
and
Grass isn't
the,
cut.
yeah, that's not
Stones.
pleasing to the eye. That's already the first thing. When you change here, you see, yo, stadium packed, grass is nice and green, atmosphere, whatnot.
Football.
Here you have your same gens the whole time in the front with a bread and cabbage. It's like, but in order to get the
Yeah.
people to come to the games, first start playing attractive football.
Yeah.
There the Bafana coach even came out and said, here in South Africa, we're not producing good enough talent that will put us on a different platform. He came out and he said it. Yes, he's going to get shots for it and everything, but what he's saying is true.
Is that also based on development?
Based on development.
Even
right.
with the men's football.
Yo, Lee, yeah, but us,
But
nah.
we just like, we so corrupt from like under 12, 11, 10, from there. So that's why we're in the position that we're in at the moment where stadiums aren't packed and so forth on, because like, nothing here is based on merit, nothing here is like, it's basically who you know
You
and
know
so
the
forth
coach,
on.
the coach,
The
the
coach.
Brazil, the coach. Hey, I have a player here.
Yeah.
You saw my in PSL.
Yeah. but going back to the gender pay gap argument, and we're speaking specifically sports
Yeah.
across the board, we're not only talking about football. When you hear people say that there should be equal pay for all sports teams, right? That's why I'm asking, based off of what?
For me,
For football, you can say, yeah, based off of merit, based off of development, based off of what the achievement that you see.
I feel like throughout it should be based off of merit.
Yeah. And like you were saying, you mentioned
As
earlier.
is with every like job.
Yeah. Because even your top earning world class football players, they don't all get paid the same. Even the men.
Yeah.
They don't all get paid equal. So that argument doesn't stand there, right? If you are then gonna compare apples with apples, like Keegan says here, then you can say, based off of the achievements that this player A, which is under the gents section, received, right? And this is the achievements, let's say for instance, 3 out of 5 stars for this gent. And the woman on this side has 4 out of 5 stars for the same achievement. She obviously needs to get paid more. Is that not the case? That should be the case, right? So there you can say equal pay. But you can't now make for everybody equal pay. It's like, let's go corporate, a little bit away from sports. If your argument is that men and women should be paid equally, and there's still this huge, which is, it's the truth, it's a fact, that there's still a big pay gap. It's not as big as it was maybe 30 years ago, 50 years ago, but there's still a gap between men and women. Obviously, things have changed, and over time, based on the change, you will see the results, right? So in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years, that pay gap might get less or it might get more, depending on which direction we go as a society. One woman had an interview with Jordan Peterson, and I was watching it again 4 years ago, and she was saying to him, they were talking about the gender pay gap, and he was saying to her, okay, all good and well, because she was talking about the top footsie companies, right? And she says that majority of that, there's only 7 female heads in the top footsie companies in the world. And then Jordan Peterson's argument was, okay, I get what you were saying. One of his arguments, it wasn't the only argument, but he was saying that if you look at the most successful people, the top 1%, right, is mostly men. But he says even men are vying for that top position with men. It's not, so that's why he was saying it's not always about gender. He says that because if 7
Everyone's
of the
just trying to get to the top.
everyone's trying to get to the top.
Yeah.
And he was saying, unfortunately, like in many cases, there comes more sacrifice with more pay, which means that you must be willing to sacrifice family first and foremost. Because those gents that are in those positions, many of them you'll find they're divorced or they're not married or they've got gang women and stuff like that, because their main priority in life is success.
Yeah.
So if you are a woman and you want to vie for that same position, then that should also be your mindset. Then you can't want to have your bread buttered on both sides. And if you are a woman that wants to have that top position and you want to earn more than a man, then you must settle for a man that's not on that same level as you. Because if you are a woman in the top 1%, it's very slim that you're going to get a man that wants a woman in the top 1% as a life partner. Because when are you going to see each other? If you are both working, if you are both, you see what I'm saying? So then he says that, but then it has an effect on the rest of the society structure, because now family must take a back seat, community must take a back, and not just family as in children, as in like your extended family. So relationships must take a back seat. Those kinds of things. Those people are very lonely. So the argument that he makes in that instance was that it's not just about gender. He says there's other factors that come into play when you're talking about the argument of equal pay. Don't just take gender as the main component. He says because there's many other components. But now when it comes to sport, you cannot eradicate the biological physicality of men and women if you're talking gender pay gap, right? Because in some instances, unfortunately, men are going to outperform women based off of their physicality. You were saying that those guys in the Champions League, in the championship, right? Their stamina, physicality is on another level altogether, and that's men versus men. But there's a stark difference in many instances: body structure, lung capacity, their form, their stature. Some men can't get to the bulked up stature as other guys. Some men can't be slender and have that muscle capacity as some guys. That's just based on physicality. So if you're going to talk about equality, there's other factors to consider as well, other than not taking away from the fact that there's definitely still discrimination, because we see it with Bafana versus Banyana. That is one instance. But if you're going to take it across the board, then gender shouldn't be the only factor that you take into consideration. You have to take time into consideration. You have to take the amount of physical effort that those training develop. When you're talking about development, right? That is also something that you must take into consideration. Another thing is, in some instances where we take biology into consideration, the fact of the matter is, most women that I know of, have periods. In that time when you have your period, your training is not always going to be on peak like how it would be all the other times. Some people have it more difficult than others, even with women. And even in that ball game, right, woman versus woman, some women are going to outperform other women. So you can't talk about gender equality, because even within the gender dynamics, there's differences. So that's why I'm saying, when you talk about the gender pay gap, based off of what is what I'm saying. How are we going to measure this? Because if you're just going to, for the sake of having equal pay, to right the wrongs of the past, like with affirmative action, triple BEE, then you place incompetent people in positions because they were previously discriminated against. And then the whole team flops. And then what happens? So we need to, for me, there needs to almost be like a criteria that we are measuring it to, which I think you can do, especially in sports. I think that even in the workplace, you can measure it. So my question to you guys, when we speak about the gender pay gap, right? What are some of the factors that you think we need to take into consideration when we are comparing apples with bananas? Sorry for the analogy there, but we're not comparing. It's not apples with apples.
It's peaches and bananas.
It's both fruits, but it's different fruits and different tastes and stuff.
Jay, you can jump in there, bro. Come on, player. It's a tough one, to say. But again, I feel like it comes down to achievement, Lee. And also, not necessarily just achievement, but who's putting in more work and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I can say that because sometimes the gents will put in work but then still lose all their games.
That's the
So it's
thing.
difficult to also say that. So
I think the most, for me, also based on what you were saying, the easiest thing to base it off of at face value. Obviously, the sports scientists and stuff, they will go deeper into this kind of thing. But on face value, I think you can base it off of achievement.
yeah.
Because obviously it speaks for itself. I mean, if you're achieving more, then...
But I feel like it
Because it's true what you say. Some people put in the work, but they're just not that talented.
Yeah. And also look, with football it's also it's a team sport. If it's something like tennis where you are alone and you know you're working hard and you're putting in, you know the results will come out in
Yeah.
your favor.
Yeah.
Whereas with football, it's different. You can work your heart out and push. Yes, you'll see it on the field. But if a player's around you is
Your
also
team
not
is swag.
your team is bad. Now and then it also shows on you to say, hey, these gents don't look too great. Eh? That player, yeah, he looks good. He's not looking bad. But then still, the team around you is bad. You're going to still be losing games, whether you like it or not. And then that's where I feel like the whole achievement thing is a bit of a tough one. Because now you're putting in the work, but yet you are still losing because the players around you is not putting in the same amount of work as you.
So then you don't get the amount of funds that. Are you trying to say that?
Yeah, basically. Where
Because your team is doing bad.
Yeah, because Lee was saying, no, we mentioned most now the fact that if you playing and you playing and what did we mention?
Use one lesson, can you see now? I was saying, based off of what factors should we have equal pay?
It's a tricky one because now you were speaking about criteria and so forth. So it's like, yeah, ni wat nou weer.
But you guys
So
should know,
who
user
gets-
sports fundis, football fundis. You should
Yeah,
know based off
yeah.
of what criteria. I mean, okay, let's
But
take
most
the
of the time-
gents.
But most of
with
the time with the
gents.
gents, it goes off of merit.
Yes, so...
If you're a good player, you get paid more than what a bad player gets.
But that's what I
It's
was saying. I was
straight up.
making comparison. I said, if this gentleman over here has 3 out of 5 stars, but this woman here has 4 out of 5 stars for the same thing on in terms of criteria, then she should be paid more than him.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So that's what I'm saying.
But
Based
it
off
al-
of
but
what
it al- But
factors?
it also depends on
'Cause it's not
again,
just
it
about
depends on
gender.
the advertising of the sport in general, the sponsors and so forth. I mean, at this point in time, the guys obviously there's more of a spotlight on the guys, which means I'm sure there's more funds being pumped into that arena. So now we first have to get it to a point where it's equal.
Pumping funds into.
Yeah.
We first need to get to a point where it's equal. At this point in time, I don't think it would be wise to how can I say, at this moment, hear me out, at this moment, to level up the bag for the woman as how the guys are. Because the women's football, the spotlight isn't fully on that sport as yet.
So you say we must first start with getting the spotlight
Let's level
on.
up the playing field, and then now we can obviously pay equal.
Not with football, because at this
like,
point in time, the
I'm
women are
speaking-
working their alleys off, and
Which-
the
which
men are
is
just
true,
not doing
which is
anything.
True, but I'm just
And-
saying in general, it's like
Because you
it's
know,
like
look,
comparing the
Nadim
pre- it's
Tuetwa
like-
made
it's like-
that
It's like
promise.
comparing the Premier League to a different league. Because there's such a big spotlight on the Premier League. Of course, there's a lot of funds being pumped into that league.
Look,
But
when you
that makes sense because it's a good league.
But then but then the
Whereas
spotlight.
now the spotlight
then-
is on something that's dull and dark.
okay, let's take the
I'm
rest
just
of the
saying,
African
level up the-
football
when-
teams. Let's take the rest of the African
Like where-
national football teams, right? Do the women outperform the men in the rest of Africa? Then you no need to ask
before we
yourself
get
when
there,
we
what-
talk about
before we
gender
get
pay
there,
gap.
Lee, what I'm trying to say is that where does like Sundown's woman even train? Where does Amazulu woman even train? Where do they train?
I don't know.
The gents probably have the facilities. They probably training at a high school. On a high school field.
So you're saying fix that first.
let's fix that first.
Which goes back to what Jesse says about the development. pushing funds
because now
into
you
training and
training at a
development.
high school and you getting 500K a week with a person that's going to top facilities. You see what I'm saying?
But even though you're training at a high school,
still
you're still
doing better.
outperforming that person that is at top quality.
You are.
So the
and
thing is,
and I'm
so
with
then
that.
let's do
But
this.
level it up.
Then let's do this. Let's flip the script. Let the ones that are not performing well go to the high
let's do
school
that.
and go and train there, and let the people that are actually bringing in the watch and that's doing
And
the
it's
most,
letting the
let
world
them
watch.
get the best facilities. Then let's then do that.
No, I'm with that.
Because what are they gonna say? We don't have budget for both teams to now have top facilities.
Keegan says, Jens, you can't compare Premier League with national colors.
You see now. Now let's go here.
I feel like we can because we have a, you know, if our structures were in place, you know how many players should be playing in the Premier League? In South Africa,
Okay, yeah.
We have
aside from
top.
Brazil,
Yeah.
we have some of the best players in the world, raw talent.
Yeah.
That's aside from Brazil. We can match Brazil if we want to in terms of talent.
Yeah, and Jesse can make that statement because he played in England before. He knows the
And Brazil.
and Brazil.
Yeah, no, you see now. You see. So that's not even just based off of gender. That's just based off of our training and development across the board. And the kind of money
But that's
that we
what
are
I'm saying.
investing
Lee.
into
Let's
this.
level the playing grounds where it comes to facilities, training grounds, all of that, and obviously.
We can't even level the playing.
Let's get to that first before he makes a statement like,
With-
the ladies
with
must get.
one-
It's like,
With the one gender, we can't even level the playing fields with the one gender. That's just males. There's no though even that is not the levels are not the playing fields. They are not the
But like
level.
now,
they
what-
are just unleveled.
but what I'm saying, like now, based on what Banyana has done for the country, surely someone should say, you know what, let's televise what they do.
Like Jesse said, most of the
Let's-
women are international players.
No,
so
let's-
even
let's-
they like.
Keegan says, once you are in a national team, there should be a pay. They should be paid a minimum as a standard. Salah takes a pay cut to play for Egypt.
I get you. That's true. But again, you see, these are factors that's
Again,
not even
he's
just
also-
based off of gender.
He can't take a pay cut because Liverpool is paying him how much.
Yeah, and he's
So
not
for
at
him,
Egypt
it's
like every day, bro.
Yeah.
When do you play for your national team?
But look, again, there the argument
And
goes
that's-
back
that
to
I don't
that's
mind
just
also
among the
because-
men. Not
Because
even.
like with that, it makes sense that you get a pay cut there. I mean, you getting, how much does he get a week now
I
at
think he's up at 350 now.
350,000 pounds
Pounds,
a
yeah.
week. That's
A
what
week.
he's getting now. And obviously, you're going to be getting paid much more there because that's where you are most of your time and they are able to pay you that.
Ronaldo's on 550.
And you obviously doing the most for that
For
team.
that team, yeah. Whereas with Egypt and all your, look with your international, you're not always there. So it also does make it more difficult in terms of for a coach himself to try and train that team and all that stuff because
But again, there's my argument again. Can
Yeah.
you see factors? When we're talking about factors, gender's not the only factor.
yeah.
Because even just amongst the men, even just amongst the women, there's still pay disparities. There's still disparities within your own gender. So that's why I'm saying to you, we cannot just say that gender's the only factor.
No, it's not.
So I'm of the opinion, like you said also, I think the best way on face value, again, I'm saying on face value, right? Like I said to you, the sports scientists and the experts, they will know better and do better research on how do you measure fairly. But I think at this point in time, based off of merit,
Yeah.
if you are good, you are good. You
Based
get
on what
paid
you're
for
doing
being
for your
good.
team.
Which I'm for. I'm 100% for that. I'm just saying at this moment in time, yes, big ups to Banyana. They deserve everything. But before we jump the gun, I think someone should say, yo, let's showcase them more. Let's because when are we gonna hear about Banyana again? Probably World Cup, and then after that.
But still, even with that, they have to get more, bruh. They doing good stuff. They're doing great
But
stuff.
again, that goes back to what I'm saying about merit. They have proven themselves to get that more that you are speaking about.
Because now you winning everything, you still have the same. You're not gonna like it.
Yeah, and you probably putting in more work than what Bafana Bafana is putting in. I mean, this is just speculation, but
Difficult. But
And then,
I do agree though with the fact that they have to get the development process right here in our country. Once we get our development
and also what
in
Jay
order,
says about broadcasting.
Yeah.
We need to see more. We need to know more. We need
and
to
that's
get
not
them
only
involved
based
in
on
more.
women. That's also with the men. They need to get the structure and the development up and running. It needs to be.
And you see this argument of the gender pay gap, it becomes difficult because if you look at sports that are predominantly male dominated or predominantly female dominated, let's take for instance netball. Do men play netball?
I've seen a few.
Hey, man.
I'm talking about like nationally and stuff
Oh,
like
no,
that.
I
I'm not
don't
saying
see.
for fun.
Let's check male.
I don't think we have a male netball team.
You see? So like with that,
We must
how
start
do you
him, bro.
argue there? How do you argue there? Because we're talking about if, and this is based off of what Nadim Teto was saying about across the South African sports teams.
The gents fang netball.
Is there a netball team?
I don't know in SA, but yo.
With basketball as well. How are you going to compare? How are you going to bring gender pay gap? Because both men and women play basketball, but obviously, who is also dominating that sport? Are you saying that women need to be represented more? Because you know that basketball is mainly a...
Aish, meet the South African males netball team.
So we have a netball team.
But we don't know so must the males... Now okay, we've got a male netball team. Must they get paid equal to the women's netball team?
Aish.
Must they get paid equal to the women's netball team?
But I think Leon also depends on...
Because now we're flipping the script because
But
netball
that's
was
also merit.
predominantly
What you
netball.
achieving?
But what if those men are better than the women? Because there was a study that took place where they put a high school soccer team, sophomores. They put sophomores against a national netball team, and the sophomores beat the national netball team.
Who's national netball?
America,
Oh.
based off of physicality.
Yeah.
So now, and they're
But
not trained. It was a fun activity for them. So now there's the men's netball team.
But it also
And then
Angazi.
in most cases, because there's tall netball
No one gets
females.
Yeah,
Can
once.
you see? Can you
Once.
see? How are we going to measure
Once.
this now?
Nah, but
That's why I
Leon,
said.
I think
That's
it-
why
I
I want
think
to.
it also
My
de-
question is,
it
I
also
don't have the answer.
It
I
also
don't have the
dep-
answer
I
here,
think
but
it-
I'm saying
it
I
also
want to get
depends
solutions.
Like where you play and who you play for, the team and so forth on. Because I'm sure there's a lot of better players in in the championship. Maybe one or two that's better than maybe Man City's players. Or in the other Premier League teams. But
Don't use
but-
England. Keep it here.
okay, how am I gonna keep it here, bro?
Man, but it is.
But
There's
then-
a lot of gents that play Kasi ball when you go watch the
Facts. Okay,
like
true,
champ
true,
of
true,
champs.
true.
That's
Yeah,
better than the gents in the PSL.
in the PSL.
But when you ask them, they play. They don't. Most of them is not playing. A lot of them play for your Motsepe
But the
League.
thing is, I can't even speak about SA, bro, because then again, you know how corrupt we are in that when it comes to...
But that's why I was asking you guys, which you don't want to
like, I can't,
answer.
like,
You don't want to
SA, I
answer
can't
that
even,
question.
bro.
I was saying the rest of Africa, the rest of the African national teams, male versus females, do the males dominate in comparison to the females in the other African national teams?
Do the
Males dominate in the leagues and in your like African Cup of Nations and stuff like that compared to the females. Because this is not just for South Africa, it's across the board.
across the board,
It's the whole of Africa, the whole of the world when we're talking about. Because remember, gender
When
pay
you say
gap is not just.
dominate,
I'm talking about in terms of their achievements.
do the men dominate?
do they achieve
Yes,
more
do
than
they
the woman?
achieve-
Because Banyana and Bafana is one example in Africa.
Yeah.
But the rest of Africa, because the gender pay gap should be across the board, is it not? So if you are fighting for equal pay, then the rest of Africa is also going to want equal pay. And then in some cases, then but the men dominate. They achieve more.
Yeah, it's difficult.
In Egypt, let's take Egypt for example.
Yeah.
Does the Egyptian national team achieve more than the Egyptian? Is there even an Egyptian women's team?
Probably, I'm
There
sure.
is, yeah.
I'm
There
sure
is
there
one.
is. But then there again, I think the men do a lot better.
That's why I'm asking you,
Do a
based
lot
off of
better.
what are we talking about equal pay? If we're talking about equality, equality should be for all women, but based off of what?
Yeah.
You can't just want to fight for equality. You can't just want to say I want equality based off of what? Just because you are because you look this way, you must get equal pay. That's what I'm saying. That's why I said for me, based on face value, the easiest thing to use is merit. And merit also comes in with, and then all the other factors will
What
come
you
into
bring
play.
into the table, I feel like you should get
Yeah.
paid based off of that. Because that's how it is.
But it's still never gonna be the same.
I mean, if you look at, because we have to end now.
Yeah.
Let's
It's
go,
still
because
never
even
gonna-
with in Hollywood, with the films, they fighting for equal pay. But most of, let's take for instance Marvel, action heroes, right? It was mostly male. Obviously, there's now transformation and there's now more females. But if you're now gonna compare what the public wants, and the public mostly wants male heroes, superheroes, then how do you compare that? Because now now the director must must make a decision. Either you're going to please one group or you're going to upset
Now
the
you're
other
gonna
group.
make a She-Hulk.
Yeah, She-Hulk. And She-Hulk is out here. I think it's coming out
There is a
soon.
She-Hulk.
No,
Yeah.
it is coming out soon.
You see?
Coming out sooner. Yeah,
Okay,
I
so now She-Hulk comes
She-Hulk.
out, ne? Superwoman and Superman. Who do you think is more powerful, more popular? Let's just be honest. Even after transformation has occurred, who is more popular? Superwoman or Superman? Who do people vibe with more?
The Power Rangers.
Three ninjas.
Because if at the box
Tom
office,
Tom,
at the
Rocky
box
and Carl.
office, who is doing better in terms of revenue? So now, if Superman, let's make an example. Okay, let's flip the script. Let's say in an ideal world, Superwoman does better at the box office than Superman, but Superman gets paid more. But Superwoman did better at the box office. That is unfair. But if Superman does better at the box office than Superwoman, and you want equal pay,
It does not make sense.
is that not a little bit hypocritical?
It
I mean,
is.
I'm just asking, like, for a friend.
But that's why I say it should be based off of the merit, because same there, it's still based off merit.
It's based off
the
of
one
merit.
that is bringing in more funds for the
If
company
Thor is
should at
doing
least be
better
made.
than Wonder Woman, if Thor is doing better in terms of revenue, because why do we invest in stuff? We must want a return on investment. Is that not it? So like Joy was saying, if you're going to invest more into women, you're getting your return of investment in Banyana. You are getting your return of investment. So the logical thing would do to invest more into
structure.
Banyana. Is that not it? So sponsorships, broadcasting, training and development, those kinds of things, structure. You invest more into that because you are getting you're gonna get a better return of investment in that. But also looking at women's sports and the women's leagues, right? And Wafcon is one of them. But how many leagues, or do you call it like leagues, championships, those kinds of things, how many is there for women in comparison to men? Because now that's a different thing. If men are playing in more leagues and championships and stuff than what women are, and you're still wanting equal pay, does that make sense? That means now you need to equal the playing fields there. So that's why I said to you, it doesn't just boil down on because I am this gender, I need to get paid equal based off of that. there's other factors that you need to take into consideration, and it goes back to what Jay was saying. Then let's level the playing fields there first.
I think level it up first. And
Once you level it up there, then you can say, oh, we level most now. So based off of this, if you're performing better, then you need to most get more.
Right now, and then that level playing fields don't even have to happen. Because the playing field isn't even level by Banyana, but yeah, they're still performing more than what the gents are. So it should be based off merit.
Merit. Back to merit.
But then, like, what I'm saying doesn't make sense for like a company like DSTV to televise those things.
So what happens now? Banyana does better
Because
than
they obviously
Bafana,
they
based
need
off
to
of
pay
merit.
rights, right?
But I mean, DSTV just got, when was it, last year or the year before, where they got rights for the Somalian League.
Then there's something wrong.
Okay, but let's end it off. Let's end it off with this. Let's end it off with this. Let's say,
And
for
he said the
instance,
Somalians is playing.
let's
DSTV plays the Somalian League, bruh.
okay. Let's end it off with this, ne? Based off of what you're saying, Jay, we're leveling the playing fields, ne? Now we level the playing fields. Our women's teams get more, or at least equal airtime. Airtime, right? We're just talking about broadcasting now.
I think
Airtime, data. They get more data, airtime, whatever, than men, right? Than they men. But the not the algorithm, the analytics,
The elders of the church.
the analytics shows that people still watch more male football than female. How do you then? What about that then? What happens then? Then who must be blamed?
Yeah, that's why I said it has nothing to do with that. Because we then putting the Somali League on the TV. Who's watching the Somali League?
There's people that clearly watch Somali League.
Yeah, it's like maybe the Somalians, yeah.
But you know about it, so obviously you must have watched it.
I've seen it, I flipped through and I'm
You're
like, what Ghanian? And then Uncle also told me about it. So I was like, okay, then I actually saw it.
But what
one
if
day
they're
and I'm
just
like,
really
ah.
good? Did you watch
No,
other?
they aren't.
Okay. But now look at
It's
that.
less appealing than the PSL because the grass isn't long. They don't cut the grass. It looks like they're playing in the field.
Okay.
But the truth is, we won't be able to like televise everything that Banyana's doing.
Okay, but
because
now
majority of Bafana's players are here in SA, the SA teams. And if you're saying Banyana players is all over the world, will they end up televising all those leagues?
Nah.
And
I
I just
won't.
want to say something because I know someone's going to say, yeah, but our countries are poor and we don't have. Doesn't take a lot to cut the grass and put paint on. It really does. In the UK,
I mean, how much are we spending?
The parks that you go to where there's marongorongos. The parks have soccer fields on that looks better than what some of our teams play on.
Okay, but
And it's
that's
like-
the UK, Jess.
Yeah, but still,
That's
it's
the
just
UK, you
big-
can't
it's literally
If there's
cutting
but
grass,
if there's
Lee.
cameras there, Lee, we played for Robert Sherman Sporting.
There's an example.
Okay, yeah, that's
Robert
just fair.
Sherman
And there wasn't
Sporting's field
cameras and stuff
Yeah.
out
is beautiful. They
Yeah.
look after their fields. The grass is cut. They throw the popo on the grass and stuff like that. There's groundsmen that tell you can't train today because it's waterlogged, stuff like that. Then even you can bring it today, well, a player.
No, you see, so it's there again. Like, look how this conversation goes in every direction. It's because you cannot. When we're talking about, that's what I'm saying. When we're talking about the gender pay gap, based off of what I'm asking? I'm still asking that
I'm still
question.
merit.
Nobody's. Jesse answered merit. Jay said level the playing fields.
Merit, yes, but first.
No, it's not first. You can't first.
But now,
First level.
okay, so level
So
the
now
playing
we
fields.
must still pay them the same even though they won Wafcon. Because
yeah.
we need to
No, Jay
even
saying
the
like,
level even leveling the playing fields, you can't blame the players for that.
who must you blame?
Structure. You want to be seen.
But that's what,
As a
what
player.
I'm saying, bro. Before I don't know who said that about the whole get the same pay. Before whoever said that, they first need before they
Everybody's
jump,
saying that.
yeah.
Danny Jordan is saying that. Nadim Tatwa is saying that. The whole of South Africa is saying that.
Yeah, my thing
The
is
rest
first
of the
like, yo,
world.
guys, before we get to the check, let's first fix the stuff here. Let's first fix the stuff here. Let us get
I
them
feel like
there.
give them the check and fix the stuff there.
if
Okay, I
if-
feel like
if
we
have
must
the ca-
end this
if
here.
we
I
have
think
the
you guys must
capacity-
continue with
if
this
we have the
conversation on
capacity to do
Friday.
that-
How about that?
If we have the
Let us do
capacity
that.
to do that, then
Let's
by
end
all
it here.
means.
Thank you so much for everybody who was watching. You still didn't let me know
all
based off of
means.
what? Based off of what is there, Jane? Nobody is answering
the
here in the live chat either. So I guess nobody really knows
I answer.
or nobody
Me,
cares.
I say merit.
Merit. Jay
Merit.
says based off
I
of
say merit,
leveling the
but
playing
first let's-
fields. Okay, and me too. Again, and on face value, I'd say based off of merit, right? Thank you so much for watching. Until next week, we will continue. We've got something really exciting, but not really exciting, but something quite controversial for next week if it comes through. I've been making some calls, but yeah, no. So please do stay tuned. And if you like this video, please hit that like button. Please share if you feel like doing it. I mean, I'm not gonna force you to do anything, but I am a woman and I'm asking you nicely. So if you don't, then you're a man. Then you are gender discriminating. Yeah,
Don't
I
do it
got you
'cause
now.
Jessie says
I got
so.
you now. Thank you so much, everybody. Love you so much. Until next time. Bye.